Hello and welcome to First Thoughts. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And I'm Adam Johnson.
And today we're discussing the recent biopic Dumb Money, the true story of the GME stock incident that left a lot of people happy and a lot of people extremely pissed. And basically we're going to talk this biopic for a bit. It's been a minute since we've done a First Thoughts. The last one was Caleb and I talking about Blue Beetle, where we ranked all the DCEU movies and just got increasingly disappointed. So the stuff that's happened in the past few weeks, Caleb just didn't want to see him. I don't blame him. So we're going to just talk real briefly about some stuff that we've seen in the past few weeks, just to, round this shit out. I got to see Gran Turismo, which was a really surprisingly good biopic about a whole situation I never knew anything about. Did you get to see that, or do you know that story at all?
I didn't. I know a little bit about the story, but I did not see the movie. It has been a bit of a dead period here, partly because of the writer's strike and things getting pushed back, probably because like September in general is just usually not a great month. October is when we kind of start the kind of like Oscar season stuff, award season thing. So no, it's a little bit of a down month. And I usually try to go to the movies once a week, and I did not go for a good 2-3 weeks there. I did see, I think one we're going to talk about here, Equalizer 3. But no, I did not see Gran Turismo. So yeah, what did you like about it?
I love the racing sequences. I thought the performances are really cool. It's dramatically way heftier than I expected. And just a really solid film. Like, people in my audience were cheering, which was neat. I didn't expect that. And then it just kind of came and went. Nobody really talked about it at all. Got kind of mixed reviews and people moved on. Yeah. Equalizer 3, same deal. I really only liked the first one. I didn't think we needed 2 more movies of this. And this one I felt was kind of underwhelming and predictable.
Okay, I actually liked it. Quite a bit. I mean, not like it wasn't like some 5-star movie by any means, but it was just like I had very low expectations, and I liked the first one a lot. The second one was fine, but I went into it thinking like, whatever, no big deal. This is nothing. But I thought the setting helped a lot. Set in Italy, kind of smaller town. Yeah. And that to me helped a lot. There was some kind of, obviously over the top stuff. And so, the older he gets, the more like unrealistic some of the stuff is, but they do kind of make some, it's always been, he's thinking one step ahead of the people rather than just being like stronger than everybody or quicker than everybody. So, his speed of thought is why he is able to win a lot of these little duels that he has. But, I did actually like it more than I thought. And I'd have it better than the second one, but not as good as the first one. That's kind of where I would rank it in the 3.
Yeah, me too. I think the second one I just did not really care for. I rewatched the first 2 before I went and saw this one, and the first one holds up. That's a solid action thriller. The second one, just, I don't know. I don't buy Pedro Pascal as a good bad guy, really. I don't know, maybe he's played too many heroes. And then the third one, I didn't like how like the setup ending was just kind of ignored for like, I'll just deal with it. And then he just goes and deals with it instead of like the, rallying the town thing they were kind of building up towards.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. Denzel can do no wrong in terms of performance.
Oh, for sure.
And then The Nun 2, the movie that nobody else wanted to see. I tried to organize the First Thoughts on that one, and I was getting no bites. But I get it. It's the first one was, people hated the first Nun. This one was good. It was creepy. The characters were much more better developed. The setting was really good. I enjoyed it. I really liked The Nun too. I wanted to talk about it.
Well, here, take a couple of minutes here. I mean, I didn't see it, obviously. I mean, that's not like a movie that's typically right up my alley. Not that I only see things that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be super interested in this, but I just was one of those. I'm just not. Yeah, this is probably not gonna happen. Never saw the first one, so. But no, speak on it. What'd you like?
I enjoyed, like, it upped the creep factor by a lot. These Conjuring movies have gotten a little stale. They're, the scares are kind of predictable. We've veered way off track from based on the real case files of the Warrens thing. Now we've got like literal, demons trying to take over the world and like being defeated by the actual blood of Jesus Christ. It's like, what are we doing here? But in this one, like I like the characters. There was a certain guy from the first one who got built up a lot more in this one to be more of a reluctant hero that I really liked. And then Taissa Farmiga was just killing it. She way more of a stronger lead in this one. And there's this goat man thing that freaked me the fuck out. There's just this, like, it's hinted at in the middle, like, oh, don't look away from that stained glass window or the goat man's gonna get you. And then later on, somebody looks away and forgets, and this fucking clip clop motherfucker shows up and starts terrorizing people. And I was not ready for that.
Dang, that sounds nuts.
Yeah, it was good. But you know, we're here to talk about Dumb Money. Were you familiar with this story?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I remember hearing about it on a podcast I listened to. This is obviously, so it took place kind of early 2021, so it's all still like semi-lockdown mode, and not as much as it was kind of like in the spring and summer of 2020, but we weren't doing a lot. And I remember somebody on a podcast talking about like, oh man, this GameStop story is really crazy, and then kind of just doing like a brief kind of Google of it. But I'm not like a big like money guy. Like that's just like that world is just kind of like a little bit gross to me because of some of the characters in this film that are portrayed by some pretty awesome actors. Yeah, so I don't keep abreast of like what's moving in the stocks and stuff. But once I kind of realized what it was, and it was a little bit like a kind of like underdog story. I looked into it a little bit, but I never like really followed it, and I didn't follow it to the end either. I just remember thinking like, man, that's pretty cool. Like there's this kind of like rally around GameStop of all places, like this place that I used to go to all the time, to get games. And I wasn't like following the Reddit boards or anything like that, or I'd see people tweet about it and like, oh, this GameStop story is nuts, but I never like really did like a deep dive on it. So this was fun to kind of like really get a sense of like what actually all happened and the timing of everything too, because it's a pretty crazy story how fast everything happened.
It is, yeah. It's wild. The whole, I have I'm not a Redditor per se. I have the app. I go on there to look at memes and shit. But when this was all happening, I remember seeing all of the like, from the Reddit thread, Wall Street Bets. I remember seeing the like, hey, GameStop's still trending, like, keep it up to the moon. I remember seeing all of that shit as
Diamond hands.
Yeah, it was weird. And I remember thinking like, what the fuck is this? Because I didn't realize GameStop was like on the verge of folding due to this, this short stock stock shortage thing. And I remember just seeing people be like, we're almost there. And then I remember Robinhood folding because of this. I remember all of these events. It was weird. This is one of the first biopics ever where I remember very vividly everything that unfolded. And
yeah, well, it was only just a little over 2 years ago, so it wasn't. Yeah. It was just so short a time.
Do you think that it was too soon to make this?
Not really, because I think about the movie we did last week, Social Network, for our bigger project that we've been working on. It's like that was made just 4 or 5 years after the events of all that, and just a couple years after the book. So what's interesting is it would have been an interesting movie to pair with Social Network because it's based on a book by the same author that wrote the book about Social Network, Ben Mesrich. So yeah, I thought that part, like, it's like, oh, I was really like the timing of that we saw this movie, and after having talked about Social Network last week was pretty cool. But and dealing with similar things of just kind of like the internet's power to kind of like take over something and like totally change the way we perceive certain things.
Yeah. Even the name of the book, like it's the book's called The Anti-Social Network. The GameStop short squeeze and the ragtag group of amateur traders that brought Wall Street to its knees. So the events of this, the book it was based on, and the film that happened all happened in the span of about 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. So this cast is lights out, a fantastic cast. We got Paul Dano leading the pack here, yes. Always reliable. We got Pete Davidson as his just idiot douchebag brother who's just eating other people's DoorDash orders the whole time.
That's so funny. Yeah. You always wonder that when you order, like, especially at that time, is like, that was such like a desperate time. Like we would do some food orders, I remember, and be like, I wonder if they like take a couple fries, you know what I mean? Like I was like who's doing that? I mean, I definitely, the drinking of the drink is like bold, right? Because like you have to actually take the straw out of the wrapper, which like you shouldn't do. But no, that was fun. That was a nice little touch.
Yeah, it's like just a perfect way to show what kind of person he is. Yeah, right there. Vincent D'Onofrio as Steve Cohen, one of these billionaire hedge fund pricks.
Also owns the New York Mets.
Of course he does. Yeah, his back and forth with, his whole with Nick Offerman as Ken Griffin and Seth Rogen as Gabe Plotkin, these like this, three wise men of trade and stock are just
Yeah.
they're so good, like perfectly cast.
They are. To be fair to the Steve Cohen, the D'Onofrio character, he is less of a bloodsucker than the other two. Like he's more. I mean, he's clearly he's not innocent. His hands aren't clean in this. But the other two are the more, and then obviously the two Vlad Tenev and I can't remember the other guy's name. The Robin Hood guys are like just so complicit in all this stuff. But no, Ken Griffin to me is the real. Yes, yeah. Ken Griffin is the real villain to me in the story.
Oh, by far. I knew that name. I didn't know the other two guys' names. I've heard the name Ken Griffin before. Just it's the guys on the top of the mountain who just piss on everyone else. And I just to see them get a little bit of pushback was pretty cathartic, especially the way it unfolded from just like some, business savvy internet dude, roaring kitty, telling people like, I like GameStop. Let's try to make this happen. And holy shit, did he make it happen?
No, and shout out to a couple of the other people. I mean, Nick Offerman was great, but America Ferrera as Jenny, Anthony Ramos as Marcus Barcia, who is the GameStop employee. He works like a GameStop. Which where was the GameStop that he worked at? I don't know if we ever figured that out. Talia Ryder and Mahila Harold are like two University of Texas students who kind of like fall for each other, but then also invest in the stock and end up doing quite well out of it. And then Shailene Woodley, who plays the Paul Dano character's wife, Caroline Gill, Paul Dano playing Keith Gill. I thought she was really good too, with like a largely like underwritten part, but I thought she did a good job with it.
Yeah, I feel like there in real life might have been a little bit more pushback to like investing 50 grand of their savings into GameStop.
Sure.
I feel like she wasn't just like, no, I believe in you. There had to have been some like, what the fuck are you doing conversation there.
Yeah, for sure. And then how about Clancy Brown as Steve Gill?
Did not expect that. Did not expect to see Clancy Brown in this movie.
The warden.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I love that dinner scene where like, he's explaining to them how much he's worth and they just lose their minds. Like, why are you fucking holding on to this? Sell right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how about Dane DeHaan too? Haven't mentioned him either.
I was before he took the mask off, I was like 80% sure it was Dane DeHaan, but I wasn't like going to commit to that. But
Dane DeHaan with a rat tail.
Is it a sexual thing?
Yeah. That lean in. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. So he's the GameStop like manager of Anthony Ramos. Yeah, that's all those scenes, like those could have been like really poorly done with like the wrong people, but both guys are both pretty good. And it made those scenes like much more enjoyable.
Yeah, very much so. I wonder if like, do you think this movie is going to have any like further impact on like GameStop?
Probably not. I mean, it is still somewhat struggling. I mean, this really did kind of save it. I mean, it really was in a dark place. But I do think some of the points that Keith Gill made was true, because like it's like, oh, all these like tech people think like no one wants to buy like physical games anymore. It's like, but no, actually people do like kind of being able to go into a store, talk to an employee about different things, and like have a little bit of a community around that. People don't want it to all be downloadable stuff. Plus, there's still people who like to sell back their games when they're done with them. You know what I mean? So like that is a whole piece of it. So it doesn't seem like something that will die, but it'll be significantly less popular than it was in say 2007. If that makes sense.
Oh, the whole market of physical media is starting to become so niche, and collectors like myself and most of the team fucking hate that. Yeah. I don't believe I have a digital collection, but I don't live and die by it. Like I have my physical media collection because I don't trust that it'll always be there. As like we saw in the movie with the Robin Hood stock, like they can just stop the app and you lose everything.
Yeah.
It's that easy. So I don't want, Voodoo one day like gets sold to some company and they get rid of it and then I lose 900 movies.
Yeah.
So hence the collection. Same with GameStop. Yeah. I bought the PS5 with this drive because I want to be able to put a disc in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've been doing that our whole lives. So it's like, there is something still kind of cool about like, oh, let me take it out of the thing and put it, it's like, that is cool. And like, I can take it to a friend's house if they have you know what I mean? Like I can do that still. Like that's still like a piece of it. It doesn't have to all be online, digital, downloadable. It's like, I mean, I get for some people that's easier and they just like that more. And it's like, well, I'm not going to sell this. So like, whatever, I like the optionality is nice.
I definitely like, because a big part of it for me is like, if my internet goes out, which does happen quite frequently, I'll like play a game or watch a movie to kill the time. If everything I have is tied to the internet, that's not going to happen.
Yep. Yeah. There's plenty of offline stuff you can still do.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of different facets to this that people just really don't think about.
Yeah.
So this guy, uh, Keith Gill, managed to rally an entire internet's worth of loyal followers to support GameStop stock to the point where it made hedge fund billionaires lose billions of dollars in an unprecedented move against Wall Street that I is just so fascinating. I am so unknowledgeable about stocks and Wall Street, and I just don't know any of that. I've seen American Psycho and I've seen The Wolf of Wall Street and I have seen this. That is the extent of my knowledge.
And you've probably seen Wall Street.
I have actually not seen Wall Street yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's pretty good.
I'm gonna watch it soon, but I yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I have a very limited knowledge of any sort of like money related stuff because again, it's like a world I've never made enough money to like even have to think about like investing and all this stuff. It's like money is so binary to me. It's like I have it or I don't. There's like no, you know what I mean? Like there's no like, oh, I'll tie this up here and I'll put this here and I'll put this here, I'll put this here. It's like obviously that's like there's people listening to this who are probably like, oh man, like the smart thing to do is like invest in all this stuff. It's like, yeah, sure, but like I don't make that much. So it's like I just don't have like the luxury of like kind of being able to do that. Our youngest brother Isaiah, he's like, man, I feel like if you did that, like you could like you're patient enough and like you're smart enough, you can kind of figure it out. I'm like, I maybe I could, but I also have an addictive personality, and I don't really want to get addicted to that, and I don't want to be thinking about the market as I'm like at lunch with somebody. You know what I mean? Like like constantly on my phone and constantly like, nah, it's I'm good. Like money doesn't matter that much to me, so I just kind of let it lie.
I buy films, I buy records, and I buy food. That is pretty much it. Yeah. It's a struggle because I do not have a diverse portfolio. I don't even really know what that means. I do have a family member. I won't name them, but they are very stock market savvy and have been playing the game for quite a while, and I think has gotten themselves quite a little nest egg, which explains all the random super big purchases they're able to make from time to time. And I want to talk to them about like just figuring this out and maybe give me some guidance on like which stocks to invest in and stuff, just to try. Because how fast these people made like 500 grand blows my fucking mind. And I would love to try to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. Well, this is
such an impressive life skill.
It is, but this is also like a 1 in a million thing where people make that quickly. That's like probably not going to happen again like this. Well, and you can see why this is not going to happen again like this, because they have a title card at the end of the movie where it says, now, like there's these companies that hire these people, and 85% of their job is just scouring the internet, hoping that nothing like this ever happens again. These like organic, like uprisings against Wall Street. No, it's such an easy thing to like root for, because it's this rigged game against just like kind of just like a common person, where it's like the kind of the big dollar is going to win every single time. It's funny. I'm with sports, the like kind of underdog story actually is not that interesting to me. Like I'm I mean, I get criticized for this all the time, but like when, let's say the NCAA tournament happens, there was a couple years ago where a number 16 seed beat a 1 seed. The first time that ever happened. So these teams that are ranked somewhere between 60 and 64 beat a team that was ranked between number 1 and 4 like in the country. And everyone was like, oh, how cool, like a 16 beat a 1. I actually consider myself a true empath. I was actually really empathetic to the number 1 seeds. Like, you actually had a better record. You've been playing all season and you have a much better chance of like going deep in this tournament, and you lost. Like, I actually feel really bad for that. But most people are like, oh, how cool. Like the top dog got, like the number 1 team got toppled. I don't know. Maybe I'm like anti like American in that, but it's funny too. Like that is like a naturally American thing to kind of like root for the underdog, but we are not the underdog, right? Like in the world, like we're very much not the underdog. So it's funny that we have this obsession with kind of rooting for the underdog when it's just not even what we even are. Like, why do we do that? It's why like have you seen Miracle?
I have, yeah. Good movie.
So, right. Yeah, that is a great movie. That's a very good sports movie. There's not a lot of sports movies I really like because I just find them so unrealistic for the most part. There's a lot of amazing sports documentaries, but sports movies usually aren't that great. But that is a very good one. But it is about kind of like an underdog team, and it is an amazing story about how they came together. But there's times where I'm also like, I actually feel really bad for like these Russian players. Like, I don't feel bad about their coach and like the Russian government by any means, but these Soviet, I shouldn't say Russian, these Soviet players, like, man, they put everything into this. Like, they're supposed to win. Like, there's a ton of pressure on them. So ESPN did a documentary about that team one time, and kind of told their side of the story and how like devastating it was to like lose that game. And so I find myself very empathetic towards that team, while also being like, oh, that's really cool that the US won that game. So yeah, I have a very like nuanced opinion of like kind of underdog stories, but in this one, when it comes to like kind of money and like this rigged game, I very much am like pro underdog, and like was open like almost celebrating in the theater, like how awesome like that this group of the like merry idiots decided to like rise up against, and they won. How cool is that?
Yeah, you never want to be the guy who's like, well, what did Ken Griffin have to say about this? Like,
Right.
no, I don't care what he has to say about this.
Right. Yeah. Hey, how many people were in your theater?
It was not that packed. It was I saw it Thursday night, and yeah, not really that big crowd.
There was one other person in mind. It was me and one other guy. We kind of gave each other like a little nod after the movie, like, yeah, what's up, man? Like, that's pretty good. One person. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it was 9:40 on a Thursday night, so I guess I shouldn't, but yeah, we'll see. I don't think it's gonna make a ton of money, but I've been telling people that in my life, like, hey, you should go see this. Like, this is really fun. Like, it's a really fun movie.
Yeah, it's the closest to like a meme movie we've ever gotten. A lot of the movie is just like memes about this whole situation when they were made, which was so fast. The whole tendies thing, I've heard that from random Reddit people, and I've always wondered, like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. And now I kind of know. I guess.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, very hard to explain community that has their own fucking movie now.
It is. And they have all those like videos, like the guy with the sunglasses, the like animated, guy with the sunglasses. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't still understand a bunch of that world, but no, it is hilarious. It is. There's a lot of just kind of like internet stuff, like hitting you. Yeah, I overall it's enjoyable. It's like not going to blow anybody away. It's not going to win any awards or anything like that, but it's just enjoyable with a good cast. It's entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, right from the start, the second like wet ass pussy starts playing, you're like, oh shit, this is going to be good.
Yeah. So yeah, directed by Craig Gillespie. We probably should mention him.
Yeah, he's a very talented guy. I, Tonya, the Fright Night remake, a lot of good stuff. Cruella, which I thought was good, for the Disney live action shit.
No, me too. Actually, that was like better than I thought it would be. Great soundtrack to that, but yeah, he's an Aussie.
Yeah, I give him big props for remaking Fright Night, which is Fright Night's one of my favorite. It is my favorite vampire movie of all time. One of my favorite horror films from '85. Chris Sarandon, Roddy McDowell, great movie. So I was very much expecting this to suck, and it's actually pretty good. The remake kind of stands on its own; it's its own thing, and it's got a fantastic cast: Colin Farrell, David Tennant,
right?
Yeah. Really cool movie. So props to Craig Gillespie for not phoning that in.
Yeah. No, I thought he had another pretty solid movie with this one.
Yeah, Dumb Money. I remember like the trailer dropping for this just out of nowhere like a month ago, and then just kind of waiting for it. Like there was not a lot of build up to this.
No.
And I was kind of shocked. I was like, well, that seems interesting. And I was right. It is interesting.
Did you get any like I definitely felt this a couple of times, like the amount of times we saw people like in masks and all that stuff. I was just like, oh man, I do not miss that. You know what I mean? It was only 2 years ago, but it's just like, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, like what a weird time, like where everyone's in a mask and like people had to constantly tell you like, oh, pull that mask up. As someone who like has had to coach kids and like had to tell them like, hey, on the bus, like gotta pull your mask. Like I did not miss that part at all. Like it was like almost like, oh, like I don't want to see this anymore. You had to have that. That was part of the story. Like part of the story was the fact that it was during a pandemic, and that's like when some of the money was going crazy. Either direction.
Yeah, it is weird that it's such it's so recent, but it feels like such. It's weird to see recent huge history in film that you were involved in, that you participated in. To see it as recorded history in a movie is surreal to me, because that's like the first time I've ever personally felt that. And yeah, it is seeing like his sister pass from COVID, and it's a big driving force of like why he's doing this.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I want, outside of COVID, like would something like this have happened without?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I think there was everyone's online doing nothing. Like, let's rally around this cool thing.
This was something to kill the time for a joke, and it turned into this giant movement.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think that definitely played a huge role in it. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I hope it does well. It's made about 1.3 mil so far. I couldn't find anything on its budget. But it's getting really good critical praise. It's very good cast, very cool story, nice underdog story. Really makes the Robin Hood people look like the biggest fucking dipshits in the world. But definitely. I'm kind of glad that they took a hit from this, because they were priming, like they were just straight up screwing people.
Yeah.
and open with it. Everyone kind of knew.
Yeah, no, it was ridiculous. The reported budgets based on IMDb is 30 million, so it's got a ways to go to.
Okay, well, never mind. Good luck.
Catch up. Yeah, we'll see. But it may have good word of mouth. It might be one of those kind of like second, third weekend things that like goes a little bit, because we're a little bit out from like some of the heavy hitter stuff coming in October. So we might have a couple weeks here where it can bounce back a little bit. But yeah, no, it's not going to make a ton of money. I mean, it's just not the type of movie. It's the type of movie that people are going to be like, oh, wait till it comes on at home.
The only competition is Expendables 4, which is already tanked. So good luck there. It is going to be obliterated by Saw. So good luck there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I with the season pass that I got for Draft House, I pay a $2 fee to see whatever I want. So that's why I do so many of these, because I can.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm about to do a pass through I guess it'll be Santikos. Because especially I think you have to sign up for like at least 3 months. It's like, well, these are the perfect 3 months to do it, right? October, November, December. So
yeah, true. Like I'm looking forward to doing one of these for Killers of the Flower Moon and Napoleon. And really bitching award season films we got to look forward to over the next few years.
I'm Killers of the Flower Moon. I can't wait for it, but I'm really excited for Napoleon as well. I think that's gonna be really good.
Yeah, I love the trailer. It's so intimidating. Like nobody does large scale historical battle like Ridley Scott. It's gonna be sweet. And also
the trailer uses National Anthem by Radiohead, which is a great song. I mean, it's a different like version of it, but it's like a cover version of it. But yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah, killer. I am planning on dropping one of these about the Expendables 4 with Caleb. We both didn't like it, so prep for that. It's one of the most ridiculous, over-the-top, corny-ass movies I've ever sat through. There was a guy in my theater just cackling the whole fucking time. But go see Dumb Money. You know, it's got a pretty good release. Yeah, check it out. It's worth it.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, with that, we're signing off. Go check out the movie. We'll have more for you as soon as we can.